Good afternoon and thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity to speak in this session. The press presentation was really nice. I was hearing to it intently. Thank you all our seniors, respected teachers and API members for this opportunity. Before starting the session, I would like to mention that because I am running high temperature now, so I am feeling very dizzy. So if I am unable to complete the session, please excuse me. Next slide, please. So my session is on the statins and their use in the post-COVID scenario. So I have taken my liberty to speak on statins in the COVID scenario as well. And as we all know, statins are a very important group of drugs which are used particularly by us as endocrinologists and also by cardiologists for management of both the cardiac conditions, atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, and primary prevention of diabetes. And as we know, this picture how statins work, and by increasing the LDL receptor mediated uptake of LDL from the circulation, and it helps in reducing the blood cholesterol levels. But apart from this, next slide please. Next slide. Statins have also an important role in as an anti-inflammatory agent. So by increasing the nitric oxide production, increasing the increasing the stability of the mRNA and increasing the transcription of the nitric oxide synthase mRNA, it actually decreases the very harmful inflammatory markers like NF-kappa beta and modulates the inflammatory response itself. So this anti-inflammatory role has been employed also to our advantage in treatment of our COVID patients who are suffering from additional atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease and are pre-existingly on statins. Next slide, please. So how the anti-inflammatory effect of statins work? The anti-inflammatory effect of statins can be linked to the inhibition of the helper T cell type 1 chemokines, and by reducing their levels, it also decreases the levels of CRP or C-reactive protein, the chemokines, the pro-inflammatory agents like interleukin 6, interferon gamma. All these agents are toxic as we know, and they are responsible for causing cytokine storm in patients of COVID. And for this purpose, the utility in this condition is unimaginable. Apart from this, the transendothelial migration of the adhesion molecules are also important. And in this case, it shares responsibility along with the steroids in decreasing the inflammatory expression of these harmful molecules. Next slide. Here is a pictorial description how all the aspects of the immune system, starting from the neutrophils, the macrophages, the eosinophils, and lymphocytes, have been able to be modified by effect of statins and a suppression of the inflammatory markers, together with an increase in the anti-inflammatory marker, particularly interleukin 10, helps in reducing the cytokine storm of COVID, apart from its atherosclerotic benefits. Next slide. Coming to the guidelines, before going to proceed for the use of statins in this scenario of COVID, I would like to briefly touch on the guideline. The American Heart Association guideline, next slide, shows that there are various risk factors for future ASCVD events, and by reading these risk factors, we can predict how many EVD events can occur in the future. And primary prevention of statins is very important in this case. Next slide. So diabetes particularly needs mention because being an endocrinologist, I have to talk about diabetes and its very high risk of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, particularly being a long-standing case, having increasing rates of albuminuria, retinopathy, or neuropathy, even a peripheral arterial disease. Next slide. Next slide. Next, please, next. Yes. So how to evaluate for ASCVD risk? There are some clinical risk estimators. So adult patients of 40 to 75 years of age, even without diabetes, we can go for a risk estimator analysis. And for patients who have diabetes, we usually go for a blanket therapy with statins, particularly in this age group when their patients of high atherosclerotic disease is quite anticipated. Next slide. Next. So coming to the intensity of statin therapy, it has been said that intensity of statin therapies actually may not be related to the effect of the statin as an anti-inflammatory drug in COVID patients. Rather, it probably is related to the pharmacokinetic properties of the statins. Nevertheless, we know that high intensity means when there is more than 50% LDL lowering effect of statins. Next slide. So this is definitely a short brief presentation how primary prevention of statins work in ASCVD in a particular risk group, and particularly all diabetic patients who age group 40 to 75 years are routinely prescribed hence moderate intensity statins. Next slide. And secondary prevention obviously includes the high intensity statin therapy for patients who are below the age of 75 years, whereas above the 75 years, we actually strategize and individualize approach to statin therapy because of the increased risk of side effects. Next slide. The AAC guideline also goes in favor of the same side effect. Next slide. So these are the additional risk factors which is also incorporated in the AACE guidelines. These factors are particularly important, including the CRP, because we know CRP is elevated in patients of COVID, and HSCRP is an important non-traditional risk factor for ASCVD. Next slide. So men above the age of 45 and women above the age of 55 are actually at higher risk of statins of ASCVD, particularly after menopause. Next slide. Next slide. So there are other various risk factors apart from type 1, type 2 diabetes. Next slide. Smoking, hypertriglyceridemia, hypertension, or the metabolic syndrome per se. All these factors come into account for the statin therapy in its anti-atherosclerotic role. Next slide. Next. And another important feature which we must remember in our population, because we are facing the COVID pandemic and we are the particularly worst hit country probably in the world. So in our country, the increase in the visceral or intra-abdominal obesity and the particularly propensity to eat carbohydrates, it has been shown that this intra-abdominal obesity only 90 centimeters in men or only 80 centimeters in women has increased risk of ASCVD. And here also the importance of statins cannot be doubted. Next slide. Next slide. Next, please. So small dense LDL is another risk factor of diabetic patients, and as we are all facing this problem that COVID patients who have diabetes are itself a moderate disease, their lung involvement is almost very severe with high CT severity scores, and these patients have small dense LDL particles also, so they are worsening in atherosclerotic risk factors as well as in the COVID severity. So treatment of go both hand in hand, not only the diabetes control but also the lipid lowering effect and the anti-inflammatory effect of high dose statins should be employed if particularly they are getting statins from the previous prescription. Next slide. Dyslipidemia triad, as we all know, includes the low HDL, the small dense LDL, and hypertriglyceridemia. Next slide. So these are the common risk factor tools we use. We have already mentioned this. Next slide. Next, please. Next. 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 The risk categories we also mentioned in the AAC category are also low risk, moderate risk, and high risk. And the extreme risk category, next slide, particularly includes those patients who have already established ASCVD. And as we all know, patients who have already established ASCVD having underlying CKD, they are these patients who are more admitted with COVID ICU, and we are facing more challenges in managing these particular set of patients, and their survival is also very much critical, and their mortality data with patients who underlying CKD, underlying advanced diabetes, poorly controlled diabetes is very high. Next slide. Next slide. Yes. So older adults, particularly who are already not on statins, should not be initiated statins during the COVID or post-COVID state, but their risk factor assessment is important. Next slide. Yes, so the target, as we all know, of LDL is not important, particularly in a COVID aspect, but in post-COVID states, these targets should not be forgotten. These targets should be remembered, and those patients in the high risk category should be obviously targeted LDL of less than 100, and very high risk category to 70, and extreme risk category with 55. These targets should not be missed by any physician who is treating a COVID patient after the COVID sequelae is over. Next slide. So here we come to some studies which have shown the in-hospital mortality in patients of diabetes who are affected with COVID-19. And this study was done by Omar Said et al. In the Department of Medicine in New York, in US. And they showed that patients who have the severe coronavirus illness, their anti-inflammatory statins effects have been some degree of beneficial effect in the patient cohort of 4,252 patients admitted with COVID-19. These patients, there was slightly decreased rate of death, 12%, which was shown to be significant, and hence in-hospital mortality may be actually decreased. But some studies have also shown negative effects. Next slide. Another study the evidence-based medicine showing that when statins are used in COVID-19, there may be some actually protective role of the lipophilic group of statins compared to the hydrophilic. For example, atorvastatin versus rosuvastatin. Now, it has been shown that in these patients who are taking some lipophilic statins, because their body distribution, because of the presence of lipophilia is higher, and hence the effect of on the COVID virus and its reservoir, that is on the ACE or angiotensin converting enzyme 2, on which the COVID virus acts to enter into the cell, may be actually antagonized by a lipophilic statin very effectively as compared to the hydrophilic statin, though more studies are needed in this respect. But as of now, we can prefer our atorvastatin or such lipophilic statins over a rosuvastatin or a hydrophilic statin. Next slide. So this is another article published in Science Direct. This is also a recent article published in 2020 when the epidemic started, and this was known as the Coronado study. This was a negative study which showed that 2,449 patients. But remember, nevertheless, there were only patients of type 2 diabetes and COVID-19. In them, the statin users associated with some degree of higher mortality rates. But maybe such things may be associated with the population included and nature of the study. So routine statin treatment should not be initiated in a patient who is already hospitalized with COVID-19. Next slide. This is another study which shows that statin use has been showing a decrease in the severity rate of COVID-19, and statin treatment is associated with a lesser chance of ICU admission and severe disease. Next slide. So what if you take home message from this presentation? I think that we can all comment on the evidence-based medicine, but real world data is more demanding, and our Indian data, though it's very difficult to encompass, can greatly help the future and direct the future treatment. So if preference of statins should be called about, I think we may bend slightly in favor of lipid soluble rather than the water soluble statins. And life-saving drugs, including statins, should not be discontinued in the post-COVID states also, but new initiation at least should not be attempted because of some increased mortality data. But at least we can see if it is not very much benevolent, it is at least not maleficent. So especially patients who are underlying atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease or diabetes, we should not hesitate to continue our statin therapy in the post-COVID states as well. Thank you very much for my patient hearing.